welcome to Consciously Healthy. I'm Laura.
Hello, I'm Claire, and today we're talking about step 8 in our Reclaim Your Life guide to living in your full potential, which is creating fulfilling relationships.
Yes, it is. But before we get into that, how are you?
Oh, how am I? I'm good. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. I have been to see a hip specialist this week, or he's actually a movement specialist, because I have my dodgy, wonky hip, which I've always had, and he's given me a whole load of movements to do, so I'm having to do these exercises 3 times a day that look a little bit like I'm doing ballet warm-ups, which is quite funny. But I'm all right, and you?
I'm okay. I've got some stuff going on that I'm trying to process, so lots of decisions to make, and I'm trying to locate security within myself and not clinging to false security. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah,
so I'm navigating it.
That's a really big one. So,
create fulfilling relationships, our topic for today.
Yeah.
Well, you're in one, I think.
Well, I think that I'm in many, actually. Yeah, I really love this topic because, like, in my personal relationship, I had a really unfulfilling relationship. I think I had a pretty bog standard normal relationship, but the sort of health journey that I went on caused such a kind of divide between us that we had no choice but to change our relationship. So we had to do quite a substantial amount of work to change our relationship. And from that, I've developed a real passion for looking at sort of relationship dynamics.
So what do you mean by bulk standard relationship?
Well, there was probably a lot of stuff that we didn't say to each other because we would want the other person to think we were just, fabulous and don't see my stuff, don't see my issues. So not dishonest so much as hiding the truth, doing a lot of what we thought we ought to do to make the other person happy, or maybe it was just a very unconscious relationship. So, and there was not really any deep, really open communication around things like sex, around our needs, around our darkest, deepest, secretest emotions, that kind of thing. And so for you, what do you think is a fulfilling relationship? What does that mean to you?
That's a good question. I've been really thinking about this recently because it's come up for me in my personal life. And I know when I was in my marriage, I believed that a fulfilling relationship is where you put the other one first. And I know this is a lesson that my parents are very keen on instilling in me. And actually I've learned over the last few years, and I've been through divorce and I've been through breakups, and I'm really learning that putting the other person first actually is not very fulfilling, because it can create a lot of resentment in a relationship. And I think I like the analogy of, if the plane is going down and you've got a child with you and you put the air mask on, the oxygen mask on, you put it on yourself first and then you put it on your child, because if you are suffocating, whatever, then you're not going to be any help to anybody else. So I think a fulfilling relationship for me is around being able to have your needs met in the relationship, considering the other person, clear communication.
And so just interrupting you there about the having your needs met, it's also about being okay if someone can't meet your needs, like being able to find that sustainability within yourself.
Absolutely. I think the first thing is recognizing what your needs are, because I know that I was very clear when I got into my last relationship that I wanted this person to put me first, and he did, but that then created the resentment. So actually having my wish list of what a fulfilling relationship is, it's constantly changing, constantly evolving as I learn and grow with my relationships. So,
and I think that's a really important point, that the person that we meet, or the people that we are when we meet our partners, are not the people that we end up. And so either we're going to grow together or we're going to grow apart. And I'm a really, really big believer in, the tantric model of relationship, which is that the person that we choose as our life partner, or, you know, let's not be heteronormative. There may be many life partners, but the people that we meet as and choose as our life partners, or the person that we meet, actually those people, that person has the opportunity to challenge us. It has the opportunity to help us grow. They have the opportunity to, like, not activate our core wounds, but bring the core wounds to the surface, allow them to be seen, allow them to be worked with, that allow us to grow. So actually, you know, this whole, and they lived happily ever after, I don't actually think that's a fulfilling relationship. I think that's a Disney dream. But I don't think it actually allows us to be fulfilled because we're not growing. It's keeping us as the, you know, in my case, the 24-year-old that I was when I met my husband. And, you know, as much as I was doing the best I could at 24, I don't want to be her again.
Yeah. And I really believe that part of a fulfilling relationship is to be challenged.
Yeah.
I think it can get really stale if there is no challenge. And I think this is one of the beautiful things about, you know, if you look at the sort of the masculine and feminine forces that come into a relationship, they are polar opposite and they are attracted to each other. And if you're in a dynamic in a relationship where you are so similar, that can actually, you're missing some of the friction, you're missing, and it can become quite stale. So I think actually celebrating the differences in a relationship can create fulfillment.
Absolutely, I completely agree. And I think there's so many exciting opportunities within relationship, and it's also where some of the most challenges are, because is it Osho, the guru of Tantra, who said, you know, anybody can be spiritual. We can all find spirituality. We can all find, you know, this. And it's very easy to be a guru or a sage if we're living in a cave on the side of a hill. But you start relating with another human being and like, wow, this is where you see the challenges. Yeah. And so that doesn't necessarily mean just your primary partner. It could also mean your business relationships, your friendships, your relationship with your children, with your parents. It's like, it's every relationship, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think relationship, it provides us with a beautiful mirror to what is going on. So I know that when I'm experiencing difficulty in a number of my relationships, be it business, be it friendship, be it family, be it partner, and they've got a similar theme, I know that there is something going on in me that I need to look at, because it's just showing me something in myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I hate sometimes.
And which is where the gold is, right?
Oh, it is, but man, it can be painful.
Oh, yeah, I really hear that. And it's just about bringing consciousness to it. So it's not something that we can do overnight. This is about being in a relationship and learning more about ourselves as we go along, learning more about our partners, learning more about how we relate to each other. And yeah. So I guess, you know, there are a couple of pillars in terms of how to create a fulfilling relationship. And like the first one is about deep, honest communication, isn't it? Like that's I think the biggest pillar.
Yeah.
And the honesty can be the real ick place, because that means that we have to be deeply honest with ourselves. So, you know, even admitting if we're behaving in an irrational or childish way, like instead of punishing ourselves and going, oh, well, I'm being really childish, actually by naming the, wow, I'm feeling that I'm tipping into some behaviours that are quite childish, like actually then we're nurturing that part of ourselves, because it's only coming from pain. So the more honest we can get about ourselves, like the really icky, dark stuff that we don't really want people to know, and the more we can own that in communication with the people we're in relationship with, that's like the first pillar, I would say.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. How are we doing for time?
We're good. We've got like another minute, so we can do our tips.
Our top tips. Okay. One of my favourite top tips for being in relationship is what it was named the shit sandwich, and I don't eat wheat, so maybe I should change this name, but it's when you have something that you want to bring to someone, and it can be maybe a difficult thing to communicate. There is a way of delivering it that doesn't have to be harsh. So the shit sandwich is, you start by saying something really kind to that person, then you deliver the difficult piece of information, and then you finish on something kind. So for example, I really loved what you were saying to me. I found the bit where you said that I had a big bum really difficult. But I really thank you for bringing that to me. That's the best example I could come up with. So it's not that you are coming at a criticism to someone just straight off.
You said I had a big bum, how out of order,
Yeah.
da da da. You're actually letting it sink in,
Yeah.
settle in, and take responsibility.
Yeah.
Just for the record, I didn't say she had a big bum.
It was the only thing I could think of. Interesting that came to mind. Did I explain that all right?
Yeah, you did.
Good.
My top tip for being or creating a fulfilling relationship is to learn how to look at everything as a lesson, so an opportunity to grow. So no matter what comes up, so if there's an argument that you keep on having, the same argument over and over again, it's like there's just a dynamic in there. So the less that you're in it and the more that you can stand back from it and see the similarity between the argument that you had this time, last time, whenever, this is where you can start to see what's really going on underneath the story of the argument. So yeah, learning not to be in the pain and the difficulty, but actually coming back from it and actually looking at the similarities really objectively. That's my
It's
top
a
tip.
hard thing to start doing.
Yeah, it is.
I know when I first started doing it, one thing that really helped me was to have someone objective.
Yeah.
You know, I went to see a counsellor, and I was able to, you know, just be in the, oh, and then this happened, and then this happened. And the counsellor, from an objective point of view, was able to help me start witnessing the situation rather than being in
Yeah.
it. So there are, if that is a particular difficulty, there are ways to be able to navigate
Definitely,
that.
it's a tricky one.
Yep.
So good top tips. I definitely think we're going to come back to this because we've got like about 8 or 9 pillars in terms of creating fulfilling relationships. So we're definitely going to dive back into this topic
I
again
love
soon.
this topic.
Me too.
And it just comes up every week for me.
Yeah, I love it. So we will see you next time, and subscribe here.